Hello, witches. Welcome to Witch Talk Live. I'm your host, Aurora Moon, and tonight we are exploring crystals. I know you guys have been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this myself. I'm so excited to begin because this crystal series is going to be a powerful and beautiful and deeply personal way of getting connected with your crystal tools. Now, whether or not you've been collecting crystals for years or whether or not you have a shelf full of them, this may be a way of connecting with them because I don't want you to sit there and think, Aurora, I don't have any crystals. That's okay. You're exactly where you need to be because you don't need any crystals to participate in this class tonight. This is all about the basics, and we are connecting with crystals one-on-one. Are we ready to get going? We are going to talk about what crystals are and how witches and spiritual practitioners work with them. We are going to talk about how to choose a crystal that is right for you. We are going to talk about whether you need to know everything about a crystal before buying it, because I'll get to that. I'm going to teach you how to begin connecting with your crystals, how to set intentions and work with them. And we are going to talk about what we can realistically expect when we begin our journey with our crystals. Because crystals are amazing energy, and I think you're going to want to use them. I have, and I'm not limited to just this, guys. I've got a whole thing of crystals and it's heavy, and that's not the only one that I have. I've got another jar. I've got a few jars around here. But we are going to talk about the deeper meanings of all of these. We are going to go deeper into all different areas when it comes to doing our or talking about our crystals. We are going to talk about cleansing, how we're going to charge them. We're going to talk about how we're going to use them through meditation. We're going to talk about how we're going to use them for chakra healing. If you don't know anything about chakra healing, that is Reiki. So we're going to talk a lot about Reiki. We're going to talk a lot about shadow work, and we are going to talk a lot about how to work them in spell work. And we are even going to get creative with doing some crystal grids. So what we're going to do is bottom line, what we're going to do is we're going to build our relationship with these beautiful tools. Because witches, I can sit here and give you a book of crystals and meanings. I can tell you that amethyst, which is this beautiful stone and my personal favorite because it's also my birthstone. I can tell you that amethyst is connected with intuition and can help you relieve stress, and it's great for meditation. But I can also tell you that rose quartz is associated with love. And I can tell you that black quartz is traditionally used for protection. But the relationship that you are going to build with your crystal is going to be personal. And that's because your practice is personal. Your energy is personal. And the way you connect with your witchcraft should never feel like you are trying to follow someone else's blueprint. So let's begin. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Mm, always great Tim Hortons coffee. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So what are crystals? I'm going to grab mine just because this is my selenite one, and it's one of my favorites. Now, crystals. Scientifically, crystals are naturally occurring. They're solid materials with atoms, and they're arranged in an organized, repeating structure. They form in many different ways. You can tell that this one was carved, and that is because it is shaped. They don't come like this. You can get them in different forms like this. That is just a crystal, oh my God, cluster. That's what I wanted to say. A crystal cluster. But they form in many different ways, and they're under different conditions. They can even be made up of different materials and minerals. That's what I wanted to say, minerals. But when we are looking at crystals from a form of, or from our spiritual practice or magical practice or perspective, I should say, we are then working with them as tools. They are not the spell. They are a tool, and we need to look at it like that, okay? A crystal does not have to be a magical, they are not, and I should say this, they're not a magical cure all. They can help. You can put your energy into it and take from the crystal's energy itself and help, let's say, calm yourself down. Maybe you have anxiety, maybe you want to track something specific, but you can't just hand over your personal power to it. It doesn't work that way. You do not have to believe that your rose quartz is like, your rose quartz isn't going to come into your life and then fix all of your relationships. And every wound that you have is all of a sudden healed, and suddenly your entire life is perfect. It doesn't work like that. It would be nice, but it doesn't work like that. So I look at crystals as a tool, just like a candle is a tool, just like a herb is a tool, just like your tarot can be a tool. Your cauldron, your wand, your incense, your oils, your athame, and any object that you have that you hold sacred to you can be a tool. But the power is not outside of you, the power is within you. And crystals can help you focus with your intentions. It can help you, it gives you a tangible object to give your feelings, intentions, and it can help your focus. So some people need to have something in their hand when they meditate because it keeps them focused on what the object is, to keep them focused in their meditation. Does that sound right? Um, it can help you create a physical connection to your goal. So even though I'm just going to pick out rose quartz again, um, even though rose quartz can bring in love and you can wear it around your neck as something to attract love, it is not going to do the work on your conversations that actually is going to take love to its next level, which would be communication with somebody. They serve as a visual reminder of what you're working towards. That's probably the best way I can explain it to you, is, and it depends on your spiritual beliefs and your spiritual practice of the experience that you may have with them, or the connection that you may have might be unique in your own way. But I'm going to teach you how you can get yourself started. So this is where we're going to start. We're not going to start with fear, no confusion, not with any am I doing this right kind of stuff. This is going to be all with curiosity, because curiosity is where our magic actually begins. Now, I think one of the biggest things that stops people from beginning their crystal journey is information overload. Like, you can walk into a crystal shop and you can see shelves and shelves of crystals. There's towers, there's spheres, there's raw gemstones, there's polished ones, and there's names that you can't pronounce. There's a lot of names that you can't pronounce. There's a lot of names that you can pronounce. But there is crystals that are going to cost you $5, and then there's going to be crystals that are going to cost you hundreds of dollars. And you could be standing there thinking, what am I supposed to buy? What do I need? What does that one do? Like, you might pick, well, what does selenite do? You might not know this. And you may think, or even overthink, is, are you choosing the wrong one? I'm going to tell you this right now. There is no perfect way to begin. You don't need an entire collection of crystals to get you started. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars to get yourself started. You can even grab a stone from your garden that has been sitting in the soil, that's gone through rain, that's gone through sunshine, that has withered the storms. And that can be enough. Those rocks, they don't have to be a crystal in order for you to get energy from them. It is what you feel connected to. So you don't need any, and you believe me, you don't need to memorize anything, and you don't need somebody telling you how you use your crystals or how many crystals you should have. Begin with one. Find one single crystal that you like. And we can do this right now. You can pick a temple stone, you can pick one that you found yourself. As long as you have permission of where you found your stone, like you don't take it from somebody else's garden. It's from your own garden, you can take it, right? But you want to make sure that where you're getting your crystals, where you're getting your stones in general, you want to make sure that the energy of it is clear. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you that as well. But if you walk into a crystal store and you see a $2 crystal and you fall in love with it, but you went in there for, let's say, an amethyst piece that costs you $20, you don't have to pick the amethyst because that's what you went in for. Maybe there's another stone calling to you for a reason. Now, I like becoming curious with my crystals because when we become curious with our crystals, we get to know our crystals on a different level. When we look into a book, it can help. Absolutely, it can help. But I'm going to tell you this, that whether or not you look in a book or whether or not you go with your intuition is what's actually going to beat it. And I say that because I teach you guys that with your chaos magic, that you can go and grab anything from your cabinet, and as long as you have that intention, you can make anything for yourself. Now, if you resonate with the crystal and you find that a crystal that you're using, let's say you pick up an amethyst crystal and you find that you have an easy time falling asleep to it, but maybe you struggle with intuition. Maybe you're better with the selenite. That's fine. Go with that intuition. Don't go with your amethyst because you thought that amethyst was going to be the best stone for it. Maybe it's the crystal that's calling you that's actually what you need to be using. I like grabbing one piece, and I like grabbing the piece that calls to me. And the one of the different ways that you can connect with your crystal or find your crystal, okay? We're going to talk about how we can actually choose the right one, because now we've walked into the store, we saw a crystal that we liked for $2, but we went in there for an amethyst crystal for $20, and now you're wondering, which one? Should I pick the amethyst that I came in for, or should I pick this one that is calling me? Well, I'm going to say, first of all, let's talk about where your intentions are. What is it that we are looking to obtain, to attract? What is our goal? So if your goal is to, let's say, clear energy, an amethyst crystal might be good. It is a natural cleanser. But maybe it's not resonating with you. Maybe it's the selenite that's resonating with you, because selenite is used to rid any gunk that is attached to your body. It's an aura cleanser. I use it in my Reiki meditations or my Reiki practice, that if somebody comes in with really tight cords that they can't get rid of, I use a selenite wand, and I use it as if I'm reeling something in. I'm yanking that tough rope that's coming out of that cord that's coming out of your body that doesn't want to let up. And I'm using my selenite wand to drag that out. My amethyst might not do that. It might calm my nerves. It might calm the person's nerves that is doing the healing session. But if I'm guided to use my selenite, there's a reason for it. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we currently working on? What do I need more of in my life? What am I trying to release? And what part of my spiritual journey am I exploring? And then we have to ask ourselves, is this what this crystal is going to be used for? Is this going to be the crystal that I want to use to bring that energy in? Because we can begin with our intention and research our crystals that's associated with those are intentions. But if you're not feeling guided to use that, it's because you may not need that crystal. It might, that crystal that is calling to you might know something more than what you actually know of yourself. You might think you like it because you're drawn to that crystal because it's purple and it's a pretty purple color, but maybe it's the selenite that you actually need, and you are refusing to do the work that you need by looking at the pretty color. Don't get distracted. Amethyst can distract you with its beauty. I know, because it's my birthstone and it's such a pretty stone. So when we go with something that feels natural to us, there's less resistance in the healing process of using that crystal versus using a crystal that you weren't guided to use. Does that make sense? I hope so. Now, crystal meanings have associations. They are not your 10 commandments, though. I want you to think that. There are traditional meanings. There's cultural traditions that might gear you towards using that crystal for something of its what it's intended for. But all of those things can coexist with each other and still pick the crystal that resonates with you, that is meant for you, even though that might not be what the book calls for. Does that make sense? I'm going to have a sip of my coffee so I can take a look at what you guys are writing. Yes, time for crafting. I agree. Hello, David. Nice to see you again. Sherry and Jay, I know that you were here first, and Sherry's always in the background. I'm just catching some of the names right now, so I appreciate you guys all being here. I love Amazonite too. Amazonite. Yeah, Amazonite. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. No, hold on. No, I'm thinking of Labradorite. That's one of my favorites. But anyways, let's get back on topic because I can my ADHD mind can take me places. So you might have a crystal that everyone tells you that you're supposed to have that makes you feel calm, but it might you might not get that. So you're allowed to choose differently. I remember going into a crystal store, and I wanted to feel the energy of the modal vite. And I'm sure you guys have heard that. And I didn't know what it was at first. I had was looking for, I think it was a grounding stone. I can't remember, but the crystal did the opposite of what we thought it was going to do. We thought the Moldavite was going to provide me with something different, like what I was looking for, and it didn't. I think I felt very lightheaded. I didn't feel grounded. And the energy might have been off. I might have been off that day. But in that moment, I believe I picked a black kyanite. And that I have told you guys from day one, that is like my favorite stone. Black kyanite does not need to be charged. I'm giving you a little heads up. Black kyanite does not need to be charged or cleansed or anything. It automatically takes away, cleanses the aura, cleanses the chakras, keeps the negative energy at bay. And because I always go with black, because I do have blue kyanite as well, but love the black kyanite because I find that it grounds me. I find that I find myself more grounded in the energy when I use black kyanite versus maybe black tourmaline. Even though black tourmaline is meant to do the exact same thing, it's a black stone. It's meant to be meant to be very grounding. but I don't find it very grounding for me. It grounds me, but not as much as what I need. I'm an air sign. I have a lot of air in my chart. I'm an Aquarius with a lot of Aquarius in my chart, but I also have a lot of air. I don't have, I think I have maybe one or two planets in my chart that are Earth, which would keep me more grounded. And I don't. But I don't get that relief from my black tourmaline. I get my relief from my black kyanite, and that's why I chose that. Now you might pick up a crystal and that's unexpected. You might go into a place and just pick one up just randomly. And you might all of a sudden feel incredibly connected to it. Like you instantly just picked it up and said, "Oh my God, I need this crystal and I don't know why." Maybe it is, let's say, I'm just gonna, no, I'm gonna grab my citrine. Maybe it's a citrine. I'm just gonna bring my citrine. Okay. And where was it going in? Um, I got lost track of thought when I said citrine. But citrine for me doesn't need to be cleansed either. But I love citrine because I feel that it feels very abundant to me, which is known to be used for prosperity spells. Citrine. And I forget where I was going to go with that. But it might catch your eye and you might say, "Oh my God, that's so beautiful." I think that's what I was saying. But I might look at it and say, "Oh my God, that is so gorgeous. I need you." I might pick it up and say, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life?" And that crystal might speak to you in ways that you never thought that you could have with the crystal. And instantly you're like, "Oh my God, I gotta have that." And you don't know what it's meant for, but you get home, you decide to look it up online, and then you find out that that crystal is exactly what you were looking for. Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell you right in that moment that you were connecting with your intuition? And that in that exact moment that you picked up that crystal communicated with you without using any words. Didn't use any words. It connected to you in a telepathic way that you didn't think was ever possible. But in that moment, you pick up that crystal and that's what it gives you. Are you going to put it back down? Probably not. You're probably going to pick that crystal up and you're probably going to see something else. But there have been crystals that I've picked up that don't feel good for me. But if there's one that feels good and I set it down and I go and look around and it keeps on getting my attention, I go back and I pick it up. Same thing with a book. Same thing with any spiritual tool that I have come in contact with. If there is something that catches my eye and it doesn't leave my mind and I keep on going back to it, I will search for it until I get it. It might be something about the color. It might be something about the energy that you're getting from it. You may not even know what it means, but you're drawn to it and it could just that can be totally okay because your intuition doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes we think our intuition is going to feel like it's thunder and lightning and that all of a sudden it's going to stand out and you're going to say, "Oh my God, it's here. Eureka. I found the perfect crystal because it spoke to me." No. Sometimes your intuition is going to be a lot more quieter. And sometimes you're going to get that nudge. Sometimes you're going to get a few nudges. And you might not know why. But don't write it off just because you don't think that it is intended for what you went in for. Maybe the crystal knows more than what you do. Maybe the crystal knows what you need more than what you do. That's a connection. Right in that moment, you are making a connection with a living object. And I know that sounds funny, but it has energy. As I picked this one up, I just got shivers throughout my body. That might be all it is that you get this surge of I've got goosebumps. I just picked up the citrine and I've now got goosebumps throughout my body because it feels right. I think that can be enough. I think doing that shows right there how powerful you are. That you don't need to look in a book and say, okay, I'm going to get myself an amethyst. I'm going to get this. Put the book down. Put the book down. I get it. I know that you're going to, and we all do it, but when you're going to get your crystal, put it down. Let your intuition guide you. Make it a game. Go in with the intention, I am going to find the perfect crystal that is meant for me. This is what I want. Don't look in the book. Wait until you get home. Got a crystal book at home? Wait till you get home. Go to the crystal shop, pick out that crystal that speaks to you, and then look afterwards and see, did it match what your intentions were? Did it match what you feel that you need? Maybe what's in the book actually tells you more than what you thought, and go, wow, God, I nailed this. I went in, I wanted to find something that was going to help with self-love. I was going in with for a rose quartz, and I decide that I'm going to come out with something completely different. It's okay. Maybe you find there's times that I'll find a crystal that I just think is pretty. It's just got a look on it, and I think it's pretty. Guess what you guys can do? You can actually tune that crystal into what you want to use it for. You can. I know it sounds weird, right? If you think you find a crystal that is so pretty, that's so fantastical that you want to use it to bring in love, use it. Don't think twice about whether or not you're being guided. Yes, the books help us. They're there for a reason. But our intuition speaks volumes. And when it comes to your witchy practice, your witchcraft beliefs, your intuition, your manifesting, your law of attraction, your spell work in general, you don't need to complicate it. You need to keep it simple enough that you remember it, that you do it. You need to feel excited about it. Just like law of attraction. If anybody who knows about law of attraction, if you've studied law of attraction, is what you put out there. And if you are putting out negative thoughts, you're going to expect to get negative in return. Now, we can't always help ourselves. We all have spoken downly upon ourselves and looked at us badly, and that's why we go to our rose quartz in hopes that we can open it up for self-love. But if you find a crystal that just speaks, like maybe it's a heart, maybe it's not pink, maybe it's not quartz crystal, maybe it's just something totally different, but you're drawn to it. Maybe it's an opal. And then you look up the meaning and you realize, oh my God, opals are meant for this. Opals are meant to bring in, and I don't know offhand. I would have to tune into my opal. It's just coming to my mind that it might probably be used for love of some sense. But if it wasn't, and I thought it was so pretty that I want to use it for love, I'm going to tune it. I'm going to program my crystal because we can do that. We can program our tools to do what we've intended it to do. But if you're going to program it, you're going to program it once. You're not going to take that crystal and keep on reprogramming it. When you dedicate it to one thing, it makes it so much more simpler. Time for crafting. I have done some protection on myself. This disaster in Nepal. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. And You might have to surround yourself with the salt ring and a whole bunch of tourmaline or black kyanite. But a lot of times, whatever is going on in other places that breaks our heart, all we can do is send love. All we can do is send prayers. All we can do is send our energy, because you don't want to deplete yourself. You can't give your all of yourself to something without depleting yourself. So make sure you keep enough for yourself. And if you don't have enough to give, don't worry about it. You can recharge with the crystal. You can recharge by just resting, doing some meditation. But please understand that there's so much of that stuff going on. We would be exhausted as witches to battle every battle out there. And believe me, as an empath, I get it. I feel that stuff too. But that's where we need to remind ourselves to cut ourselves off from feeling those things. It doesn't mean you're cutting yourself off from your intuition. Just means that you don't need to carry those burdens that are not yours. You can send prayer, you can send love without putting the burden on yourself as if you are the one that is meant to help them get out of their situation. My firm motto is everything happens for a reason. And places and people go through their things on purpose so we can learn to get ourselves out of them. Well, that sounds harsh, but I know from my own experience that when we do our own shadow work, doing our shadow work with our crystals are going to show you that the shadow part is yourself. Where were you in control? So when you put that intention into your crystal, it can help absorb those energies for you. Time for crafting. If you find that you absorb, if you're an empath and you are constantly absorbing that stuff, I don't want you to worry about what I would start off with doing first was cleansing yourself and then adding a protection. But if you're an empath, double it up, triple it up, whatever you need to do. Sit in your meditation with a stone that you find is protective, and meditate on it, on what you can do. And if all you can do is just send love and say, I hope everybody who needs to be okay is fine. And the ones that their time is up, their time is up. We all think that we know that somebody should live or longer. We can't do that. And I know I'm getting off of the whole crystal thing a little bit, but please understand that crystals can help with empath immensely by putting love back into yourself. Empaths have a tendency of putting so much love out there for everybody else. We forget to give it to ourselves. So please, if you're an empath and you're watching this, please remind yourself, do it daily. Cut your cords. I've got a cutting cord ritual that is a minute long that you can check out in my shorts. It's takes 1 minute, and it will help you clear and cut your cords. And if you do that daily, it becomes such a routine that you will no longer be affected to the out world. Doesn't mean you're forgetting about it. It just means you won't feel the effects the same way, which then can make you more of service. When you can't be of service because you are feeling everything, you can't be of service. You're absorbing all of it. How can you discern any of that? You're not going to know what's yours and what's theirs. You have to learn how to separate yourself from the situation. And yes, crystals can help. Crystals can help form a connection to place a barrier. There's a lot of people who will wear crystals around their neck, in their bras, in their pocket. I do sometimes. I don't all the time, because I converted my tattoo as my protection. Everything, you'll see my tattoo, everything in my tattoo has everything to do with protection, as well as the little inner child over here that's swinging on the swing. But the intention was to keep me protected, that nobody can come at me with their bitterness, with their anger, with their whatever at me at all times. That is part of my protection. But that's not the only thing that I do. I have to do so much of it. So if you're looking for a good stone for protection, kyanite, black kyanite, I'm telling you right now, give it a shot. You might find jet or onyx or hematite better. Hematite can be great for it too because it has a mirror image on the outside. Think about what a mirror can do if you set your intentions to face outward. You can use your crystals to amplify that protection, right? I know I'm getting way ahead of what we were talking about. I know we can do that, right? But I just want to let you guys know that these are, oh my goodness, and these are ways to connect with your crystals um, in a very positive way. But we are going to, over the next few weeks, I'm going to take you down each crystal, not each crystal, there's hundreds of crystals, guys, okay? But I'm going to bring out my most favorite ones that I've worked with personally. What is best for hope? Off the top of my head, I can't think of. I'm going to say rose quartz would be a good one. Rose quartz and clear quartz. Clear quartz is your universal. Okay, so if you don't know what to use, grab a clear quartz. Same thing as what rosemary is. That is your herb. That's your universal herb. Your clear quartz is your universal crystal. Your rose is your universal flower. Okay. Um, Trying to think of what else would be universal in it. What am I missing? Am I missing something? So hope, I would say I would probably go with, off the top of my head, Jay, of what I'm picking up, I would probably pick rose quartz. Clear quartz would be good. That would keep your mind clear, would keep yourself hopeful. Um, Selenite is another one that's my favorite because selenite clears. I have a lot of clearing crystals. As a Reiki master, I've had to because the attachments are real. I've gone through it myself of the heaviness of when a client would leave and I would have to take my own selenite wand and clear. If I go to a graveyard and work with any energies there, any energies in general, it's like a smudge stick. Your selenite wand is like a smudge stick. It will take care of anything that is attached to you that is not of your right and highest good, best and highest good, and it removes it. And you can visualize pulling that out. It's coming out. It's like spaghetti, right? Like it's just pulling all the tears and cords and stuff that's not good, and then you pick it up and you throw it. Simple as that. Now that's what I do. But um I should mention that you can keep all your crystals simple. You do not need to go crazy. So I'm going to take you through, and I'm not going to do it today. We're going to do it for next class, but I will start taking you through which crystals are for what in, especially in the chakra system. Because if you can learn what crystals you can use on your chakras to help clear them, even if you're not a Reiki healer, even if you're not a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master, or anything like that, I will still show you how to do self healing on yourself with your crystals, meditation with your crystals, how to tune into your crystals, and all that stuff. But we're going to save that for next time because each one of these classes are going to take a little bit of time to get through. They're long for a reason, and each one is going to, it's gonna take, yeah, it's just gonna take a while. You're not gonna learn it off the first bat. You may want to take some notes. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Um, of course you can, Jay. Jay just asked, um, oh yeah, you said, see, I feel abundance from a pearl. Yeah. Let's talk about sea pearls. Where does sea pearls come from? Well, they start off as a little grain of sand. I actually learned this when I was in jewelry. I worked at a jewelry store. That's how I first got into all my crystals and stuff like that, was working at a jewelry store, and a watch store. So I got to learn all of that stuff. But I would sit there and try on all the rings. I would get familiar with the energy just by looking at them, trying them on, and getting familiar with them. Um, but I learned what a sea pearl was, or what a pearl is. And it starts off with a grain of sand, and it goes into it hibernates inside a clam, and then it starts to rub. And as it's rubbing, it starts building and building and building. That's why if you ever take a real pearl and put it in between your teeth, you will feel the sand grit. That's how you know if it's real. If you take a pearl and put it up against your teeth and rub it back and forth, and you don't, and it feels all smooth, fake. You will feel the sand grit on your teeth if you actually take a real pearl. No lie. But it's because, how long does it take to form? I believe it was 7 years. I could be wrong on that, but I believe, if my memory serves me right, it takes 7 years for a pearl to fully form into a cultured pearl. And think of how long that is. 7 years to be created. The time, the energy, the time that it's been in the ocean, how it's been nurtured. I would think that that would be very abundant. That's a very abundant energy. That's why it's rich. That's why pearls aren't cheap. Because getting a real pearl costs money because of how long it takes to be made. Now they're harvested daily, right? But those have been in the ocean and been sitting there for like years. Let's talk about a diamond, for instance. Most women like diamonds. They want diamonds on their hand. That's usually um, what your engagement rings, wedding rings are made of. But a diamond doesn't takes a while before it actually gets created, because a diamond is compressed carbon. It starts off as a carbon, and over time it gets compressed. The more pressure, the more compressed. Now they have machines to do it quicker now, which is your moissanite. There's also diamond L. That's more lab created, versus, I think moissanite is like a step up. Don't quote me. I believe it is. I'd have to look at it just to remember. Um, but that diamond has taken years and a lot of pressure. That's why diamonds are so expensive, because it takes so long to harvest them. You need to wait for them because they don't come out beautiful. It's the years. It's what's taken the years to create it to become beautiful. So when we look at our minerals, when we look at our stones, that's why I said you can take a garden stone and it can have just as much abundant energy in it, because of what it's gone through, how you look at it, what your intentions are. Does it make you feel? I think I have, for instance, so I got these stones at the dollar store. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. It says believe. Okay. I got one that says hope. I think I got one that has love. I also have this crystal. It's a quartz crystal with an angel inside. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. If anybody needs an angel today, here's your angel sign. Okay. But These are simple, this one not so much, but my belief stone, I use that in spell work. My belief stone I use in spell work, and I use this in spell work because even though it's just a rock, not my intentions. My intentions are more. I see it as, oh, this would be great in a money spell. Oh, this might be great in a lotto spell. I want to believe. I want to be inspired. I want to put this in and believe that everything's going to come true. Maybe one says good luck. I forget if I probably have one in here that says good luck too. But it doesn't matter because it's what I intend it to be. Does that make sense, guys? I probably forgot a lot of stuff that I was going to talk about tonight. That's usually what happens. I get started talking and then I start getting on to something else and then I'm like, and I know we're gonna get all there. We are gonna talk about the crystals. We are gonna talk about how to use them, all that stuff. But it's going to take time. Each class is going to be something new. We're going to just focus on one. How to cleanse and charge your crystals. How to do this. How to do this. We're going to get there. But we're going to start off with just knowing that how you pick your crystal, just pick one that you feel guided to. Now, for next week's class, we are going to start getting into it. Your homework, pick a crystal. Any crystal, doesn't matter which crystal it is. I want you just to pick a crystal that you feel guided to. And I want you to use that one for next week's class because then we're going to learn how we're going to start meditation on what we're picking up, how we're picking it up, what we're going to write down. And again, we're going to pick something that we don't know anything about. I want you to pick a crystal that you have that you don't know anything about. Now, if you have a few crystals that you have and you do know some things, pick one that you know the least about so that we can bring it into our practice because we're going to tune ourselves into that crystal. We're going to meditate with that crystal and we are going to write down our findings with that crystal. What do we pick up with that crystal? That's going to be next week. But tonight, I'm going to say thank you very much. I know I was a little late getting on, but notice my camera didn't go out, but my camera also didn't start. I had to go with my webcam tonight. I don't know. It was working earlier today. I had everything going. It was all ready to go for you guys on my camera. And then something happened. I'm like, ah, I'm getting there. It's frustrating some days. Frustrating. But I hope I answered some of your questions. I know that we didn't go deep into it this time, but like I said, there's so much to learn about crystals. So we are going to take our time because I don't want you to forget these lessons. Again, we're not going to use books. We're going to put the books down and we are only going to use our intuition because that is the strongest gift that you have. That is how you practice your intuition, practice how you tune into things. It will amplify all your psychic senses. And if that's what you're looking to create or expand on or want to practice on, those are your areas that you need to practice. Those are the best ones to start practicing on. Is start testing yourself with this stuff. I used to do this stuff all the time. I used to test myself. I used to put an intention and then I would test myself. And then I would try to achieve it. And it would take me a few times, but I would always get there. And I did it all on my own. This was never with a practice buddy or anything like that. It wasn't until I got a practice buddy that I actually realized how good I was getting because I was able to have somebody validate some of the stuff. And we're gonna go there with our crystals, guys. Believe me, we're gonna do crystal grids. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. Where is that my thumbs up that I just got? But anyways, love you guys. I hope that helps. If you have any questions that I haven't said what we're going to do or have any questions or just something that a topic that you want to talk about, put it down in the comments below. I can always add to my crystal series. I don't have to stop right at 8 weeks or 12 weeks or anything like that. We are going to go as long as we need to, and then we're going to move on to our next topic of interest, okay? Because I want to make sure that this channel has everything that you guys need, from your mediumship, from your crystals, herbs, any of that stuff that you're looking to connect with. I want you to be able to find that without struggling. So that's what we're going to do. Any questions that we have, we're just going to try to keep on answering them. So, oh, and before I forget, guess what it is today? It's the lunar moon. Lunar eclipse coming in at 12:18 a.m. tomorrow morning. Is that really bright? That's my little moon. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's an actual moon that I have that glows. Look at how cool that is. It's my little, I bought it for myself. I love it. Goes with my name. Anyways, I've chatted way too much. I could go on all night, but anyways, love you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and thanks for coming out. I always appreciate you guys. Hugs and kisses for now. I always usually say ciao for now. So ciao for now, witches.